Hey everybody, my name is Erica and today I'm going to be giving you my June wrap-up. Greatly apologize for not filming more. I don't really like that I keep doing like a wrap-up and then or like a TBR and then a wrap-up like right in a row. But this is just what's going to happen. I have more video ideas, so hopefully I can get those taken care of. But I'm just first going to be giving you my June wrap-up. I actually read 5 books for Pride Month. They were all SAPPHIC, and I cannot wait to tell you about those books. You saw what those books look like. I had to take them all back to the library because they were all like pretty overdue, so I will not be able to show you, but you can look back at the TBR, or I'll put the covers in here somewhere. We'll see. But yeah, okay, so I did talk about those books in my TBR, and I feel like I already gave like a pretty good description about them, but let's just get right into it. Alright, so I had like 6 books planned for June, but I ended up only reading 5, which honestly was really good for me. So the first book I read was Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and this book follows a girl named Delilah Green, as I mentioned in the TBR video. So she's not very close to her family. Her parents died when she was pretty young, and so she was basically raised by like an evil stepmother, and her stepsister and her never really got along. They were never really close, and Delilah never felt like she belonged in that family. As soon as she turned 18, she moved to New York so that she could focus on photography and do that for a living. So basically she lives her life working on photography as well as her waitressing job, and she also likes to sleep with a lot of random women. So her goal is to get as many women as she can in her bed. She doesn't really want to settle down. She got out of a pretty bad relationship, so she just kind of focused on getting someone in her bed, but not really who they are. She never remembers their names. Until one day when her sister calls her to remind her that she's supposed to be the photographer for her wedding. And so Delilah has to go back and face her hometown again. She doesn't really go back very often. So she returns to Bright Falls, and the first thing she does is go to the little bar in town. And she sees this girl that she used to have a huge crush on, but it's actually one of her stepsister's friends. And so she always kind of felt like it was off limits. And she always felt like they were judging her, they didn't really like her, but she thinks it'll be fun to flirt with this girl. The woman that she sees, her name is Claire, and Claire does not recognize Delilah, but she thinks she's hot. She is super attracted to her. So they meet up and they start flirting. Delilah knows exactly who Claire is. Claire does not recognize Delilah. She doesn't know who Delilah is until Delilah's sister shows up. So now it's super awkward, and they think that they're just kind of like, oh, it's so awkward. Delilah kind of makes a vow with her sister that she can sleep with Claire by the end of this wedding journey. So she's going to be in town for like, I think 2 weeks for this wedding, doing a little preparation and everything. And then as she's there, she doesn't really want to make a commitment to anybody, but she ends up falling very hard for Claire, and Claire falls for her. But Claire is dealing with her own past relationship drama, as well as trying to raise her daughter, who is a preteen, and just giving her a hard time. But her and Delilah have a really great bond, and so that kind of blossoms throughout the story. And they're both very conflicted with everything going on. They're not really sure what they want from each other at first, and anyway, yes. So Delilah's dealing with that relationship as well as just trying to fit in back home and like deal with her sister and those wedding shenanigans. I loved this book. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well written, really fun. It's definitely more of an explicit like Hallmark type story, because obviously it's like woman leaves her hometown, has to go back, falls in love, that kind of thing. It's really like focused on following your heart, doing what's best for you, and just kind of when you find something to hold on to that. I really enjoyed it. It's very hot, it's very sexy, it's very sweet. I really enjoyed it. So there were some things I had issues with. I think some of it was a little cliche. I also just hate miscommunication in books. It's like really stressful, but I know that's just for the drama. But overall, I really enjoyed this, and I highly recommend it. The next book I read was Forward March. This book I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to enjoy it. This book follows a girl named Harper. She is a major band geek, just trying to get through her senior year, focusing on marching band and all things in that band world. Also, her father is currently running for the next presidential campaign. People kind of give her a hard time about that because they're very Republican and conservative. And one day, someone approaches Harper saying that they matched with her on a dating app and they weren't interested in her, and this girl is like telling Harper that she doesn't want to date her and that it's all of this stuff, and Harper has no idea where this is coming from because she doesn't even have Tinder, and somehow she ended up on Tinder as a lesbian matching with this girl, and now she's freaked out because she doesn't want her parents to find out. but because this girl and her matched, they end up becoming really good friends through this drama that happened. And so Harper's kind of conflicted now because she doesn't know what she feels for this girl. It's kind of new to her. She's also dealing with the backlash kind of from her friends with this situation because she's making friends with the girl she matched with. And it's just, there's so much drama in this. She also has to be careful because her mom and her dad obviously cannot find out, but she's also starting to fall for this girl. She barely knew this girl existed until she matched with her on this dating app. I went in with kind of like, not high expectations, but I went in really excited to read it because obviously I love band. I got pretty emotional throughout this story during the like marching band moment, simply because band geeks are all like so similar. Like you all know if you lived in that band world, like you just know how these people are, and you know what, like I don't even know how to explain it. It felt, there's so much nostalgia while reading this, and I miss band so much. I miss it so much, and marching band was a huge part of my life, and it was something that meant the absolute world to me. So kind of having a story that revolved around that made me really happy, but I was not really a huge fan of any of the characters in the story. They were all like, it's very young, like obviously it's a very young adult novel, and so yeah, I mean that's expected, but I don't know, something about Harper, it felt like she just wanted all of this drama around herself and she didn't know how to, I don't even know how to explain it. She was so annoying to me. I was really sad about that. She just really bothered me. She let everything get to her, and she acted like the whole world revolved around her and her problems, and she just kind of like really annoyed me in that way. If that makes sense. I just feel like she was so annoying, and she just acted like the whole world was out to get her, and that she cried all the time. She like would skip band, and I cannot imagine skipping band. If you love something that much, like I would be there all the time. Like, ugh. Anyway, so I had a lot of issues with the character development and just like the characters in general. But like I said, I gave it 3 to 5 stars. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't quite what I was expecting. The next book I read was I Kissed Shara Wheeler, and obviously I had kind of low expectations simply because I did not like One Last Stop. This book is definitely more YA, whereas the other one felt more adult. This book follows a girl named Chloe Green, who one night before prom, I think it was before prom, Shara Wheeler, who's the most popular girl, like the prom queen, she's one of the candidates for valedictorian, she kisses Chloe and then just vanishes. Chloe and Shara are the biggest competition, like they are out to get each other for valedictorian, and Chloe is so angry that she can't find Shara now because she feels like she doesn't have a competition and like Shara just gave up. Chloe meets up with 2 other people, so she meets up with another boy that likes Shara and then also Shara's current boyfriend, and they are looking for clues that Shara left in order to find out where she is and why she did this and like what it all means and how they're all connected. It felt very Pretty Little Liar-esque, like very much like something that Allie would have done, or like that kind of thing. It's like very dramatic, but I mean, it was good. I really liked the beginning of it. I liked the mystery. I liked that it did kind of feel a lot like Pretty Little Liars. Not quite as dark or like scary. It had that mystery aspect to it. It was really fun. They're in a very conservative Christian school in Alabama. A lot of references kind of revolve around that, like how they're raised. Obviously there's a lot of homophobia in this, but also there are a lot of queer characters. And I mean, I guess that's somehow they all were in the same friend group, and I just kind of didn't feel like that was believable. It's just like one after another they were all coming out at the same time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're like raised in that way and you all have to like, I don't even know, but the ending, I don't know, like the middle end area really bothered me. It got really boring and really slow, and I just hate that like Chloe was so obsessed with Shara and it just kind of consumed her. She just kind of let go of all these other friends and all these other things going on in her life that were supposed to be important to her, all for this girl. But also I can like see why, because she's like basically in love with this girl. But I don't know, it was cute at times, and I did like the mystery at the beginning, but once things kind of started playing out, it just didn't feel as satisfying, and I wasn't really as excited about it, so I kind of was ready to be done with it once I actually like was getting towards the end. So definitely I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it better than One Last Stop, but it still didn't really affect me, and like it wasn't really as good as I wanted it to be. Alright, the next book that I finished was The Drowning Summer. This book took me a little while to get into. This book follows these 2 girls. One is Evelyn Mackenzie. Her father was blamed for the murder of these 3 teens who were killed like 6 years ago, and they were left drowned, and then they were found with sand dollars on their eyes. And her father was blamed because he was like the last one seen with them. Evelyn and her friend Mina end up like calling a ghost, because they are mediums, so they are able to communicate with the dead. They end up calling a ghost who proves that her father is innocent. So like 6 years pass, Evelyn and Mina don't talk anymore because whatever happened back then still kind of haunts them, and they just feel like it was a really bad thing that they did, and Mina got really hurt from it. But now things are kind of starting to come back up from that summer, and so Evelyn has to kind of face it again, and so she looks for Mina for help because they're the only ones who really know what they did and how they can do it again, to figure out if her father is innocent and what the mystery really is and who actually killed these teens. It's like a contemporary fantasy is what it's called. And I have such a hard time. It's like I can watch horror movies, I can like believe it, but in books I have such a hard time picturing those things. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel real to me. There were some moments that were kind of creepy that I thought were fun, but overall I was a little disappointed. It just felt really slow. I liked the character dynamic, and I did like their relationship growth and just kind of where the story went for them. I felt like the plot was just kind of boring at times, and it kind of felt repetitive, but overall it was enjoyable, I guess. Alright, and the last book that I read for Pride Month was Ophelia After All. This book I loved so much. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This book follows a girl named Ophelia who, between like her family and her friends, they all kind of tease her for all the crushes she's had on boys over the years. They always call her like boy crazy Ophelia. And then one day, instead of her thoughts revolving around her ex, who she was obsessed with and kind of fell really hard for and was really upset after they broke up, her thoughts are now revolving around a girl named Talia. And so she's very confused by this. She's never really felt this way about a girl before. Obviously people are kind of bringing up, oh, which boy are you liking now? Who's the next one? Like, don't you miss your ex? Like, things like that. And prom is quickly approaching, and she has to find a date. She has like a really fun group of friends, and they're all kind of like teasing her about it. But she's really into this girl named Talia. She just, again, doesn't really know what she's feeling because she's never felt this way. She knows something's different about her now. And she's really scared to tell her family and her friends because they've obviously known her in this way as like boy crazy Ophelia. She's scared now that they're not going to accept her for who she is. And so we're kind of dealing with like, you know, high school drama, those friendships, trying to get through the end of high school as well as getting ready for prom. Ophelia is very conflicted, doesn't know if she should reveal her feelings and how that's going to affect her friends and family if she actually does. So this book is such a great coming of age story for anyone who's gone through that. We all like know that scary feeling when you're starting to feel something for someone that you've never really felt before and you don't know what it means, you don't know how people are going to accept you. It just felt very relatable. I had never dated guys before I started dating women, so I mean, I guess I don't really know like that, but it was like that conflicting feeling, and like you don't know if your family's going to accept you. It was just so well written and so cute, and I really enjoyed it. Again, the only things that kind of bothered me were some of the characters, and also Ophelia just kind of like shutting down, but I guess that's normal. She was really being mean to her friends and family, and she kind of let all this stuff like boil within until she kind of erupted and took it out on everybody. But it was also like some people deserved it. So overall I really enjoyed this. Again, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It's such a sweet book, and it's just so eye-opening and reassuring to people who are scared to come out, and the feelings, you just feel so valid when you read it because like you know what she's going through. So I definitely enjoyed that one. Those are all the books I read in the month of June for Pride Month, all sapphic books. Also, a lot of these books featured asexual characters, demisexual characters, pansexual, bisexual. There was such a nice range of characters with different queer representation, and I just loved all of these books so much for the most part. So that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ErikaAGobble. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!